Good afternoon and welcome to Locked On NBA Daily. On today's show, the point guard carousel continues to go around. Ja Morant is on the trade block. Where will he end up? Meanwhile, the Warriors need to make some changes. We'll talk about some potential trade targets that could move the needle for them on today's Locked On NBA Daily.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, happy Monday. Welcome to Locked On NBA Daily, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. However you're tuning in on YouTube or on your podcast app, thanks so much for making us your first listen every day. I'm Wes Goldberg. Today, we're talking about the reeling Warriors and we'll get to our weekend winners and losers here in a second. We're doing it with the help of Locked On's local experts. I have two of the best with me, as always, from the Locked On Nuggets podcast. He's a senior NBA writer for the Action Network. It's Matt Moore. Matt.
Great weekend of sports. Enjoyed the NFL. Love the NBA. Lots of good stuff going around. Very entertaining. I like this time of sports. I really like the NFL playoffs combined with NBA January. I think it's just like a good time of year as well. And honestly, I like a little bit of hockey as well.
From the Locked On Bulls podcast, he's also a Bears and Bulls creator for Bleacher Report. It's Haize.
It's been a great sports weekend. Overall, it's been a really, really good sports weekend.
I wonder why. Let's start with some NBA news. It's the big news from the weekend. It looks like the point guard carousel got a new member. Just a few days after Trae Young was traded to the Wizards, it was reported that the Grizzlies are listening to offers for Ja Morant. The question is, how badly do the Grizzlies want Morant out of there, and what is his value at this point? Here's more from Locked On Grizzlies.
You know, from the Grizzlies side, and one of the things that was put out there, and one of the things that I think I can talk about a little bit, is the fact that, while it feels like, a breakup is pretty much bound to happen at this point, the Grizzlies are trying to leave a little crack in that door, where you let a little air in the crack in the door for the possibility of reconciling here with Ja, and saying, hey, all these offers suck, and we feel like we can just wait it out or whatever, however they want to do. They're trying to.
It's very possible because Ja Morant has not played 7 games consecutively since 2022-2023, and he's currently in the midst of his worst season ever. So if it is a good trade offer, it is somebody betting on the idea of Ja Morant, not the current state.
Guys, a ton to get into on the Ja Morant front here. We did just see Trae Young get traded for essentially 2 expiring contracts, which amounted basically to a salary dump there. Matt, what does the Ja Morant trade market look like?
Trash. It looks like trash. It looks terrible. Like, one of the things that makes me kind of skeptical about this happening is teams very rarely deal from a position of weakness. They prefer to deal from positions of strength. It's an opportunity. Like, we can trade this guy and get something. The Hawks trade is a little bit of an exception, and you're seeing this with these these highly paid small guards, right? Like, that's the theme here, is like highly paid small guards. And Ja's not small, but I think he's slender and has some injury issues, right? So I think that plays into it. No team, like, the teams understand the Grizzlies' position. They understand that Ja, basically after that blow up where the coaching staff completely screwed up early in the season, they lost him. And like, you could say like Ja shouldn't have been, like, he should be more professional. 100% totally agree. It is what it is. And so every team knows the leverage is compromised. So that market is going to be like severely limited. And the other thing is just like, if you're not trading an absolute megastar, you're not going to get great return, and you won't get great return if you're Nico Harrison, because you're an idiot. If it is a megastar, like, they are not going to be able to move Ja and get like a great package back. That's not going to happen. But I do have a team that I think you should watch out for. It's a surprise one, and I think they're trying to keep this one on very quiet. I have reason to believe I think the Suns have interest, at least exploratory interest, in Ja Morant. I think a lot of teams have called. I think the Suns are among them.
The Suns being interested in Ja sounds great. It sounds like something that they would do that could potentially blow up all the good faith that they built this offseason. But the Ja Morant trade market is an interesting one, because we all know Ja's talented, but he's playing like he's not playing great this season. Like, Ja does not look like a star level player at all this season. Shooting 20% from 3. I think it's the lowest field goal shooting percentage of his career. He's just not playing good. So, the Grizzlies could hold on to him. The worrying concern is that point is like, is the trade value going to get better, or is it just going to get worse? Do you strike now and take advantage of the best offer that you have, or do you hope that the market's going to get better maybe in the offseason? That's the options ahead of here for the Grizzlies. But now that this is kind of out, typically when this comes out, the trade value just keeps getting lower and lower. We saw it with like Zach LaVine. We saw it with other players. Hell, Trae Young was just moved for just expiring contracts. So if I'm the Grizzlies, I'm taking the best offer now at the trade deadline rather than wait, because I just don't know with how things are going and how the Grizzlies offense takes the ball out of Ja's hands at time if that value is going to get any higher.
Wes, I want to ask you this as the host of Locked On Heat. Very simply, do you want multiple years locked into Tyler Herro or Ja Morant if you're a Miami Heat guy?
That is the big question, right? And I think there's a lot of teams around the league that can have a similar sort of allegory to that. But, you know, when Ja Morant's on the court and he's healthy, there's no question he's a better player than Tyler Herro. The question is whether or not he's on the court and healthy enough to make it worth giving up somebody like Tyler Herro, who's got his own injury concerns. But I would say the concerns in terms of on-the-court injuries and off-the-court stuff isn't at the degree that the Ja Morant stuff is. Ja Morant's only played... He's only been eligible for postseason awards with the 65 game once in his entire career, his rookie year. Not since then has he played more than 65 games in a season.
To be fair,
it's a great question, but to be
fair, he is dealing with the Memphis Grizzlies training staff, which I'm pretty sure have the big Raven masks and use leeches at this point. That's how bad their training staff is.
Walking in with gas chamber masks. Yeah, no, and that's the bet, right? If you're, I think 75% sure that you can get more out of Ja Morant, that you can get him to hit something close to what his ceiling is, then I think you have to do it, don't you? But there's no way to know for sure that you can get the most out of Ja Morant health-wise, right? Because there's been a lot of injuries since then. Like, if he started his career in Miami, maybe this is okay, but maybe, you know, physically he's damaged goods at this point. And then obviously the off-the-court stuff, you don't want to get him to focus on basketball. Do you think you can do that? That's a question for the Heat and a lot of other teams.
I think the Heat might be the best fit for him. I think that's probably the best environment where it's like he gets to feel big time, and it's such a buy low spot. I think they will. I think he and Spo would probably connect. I think Spo and him would do well together. I think that's the kind of coach they want. Now the problem is that you have Noah LaRoche, and that's going to be a little bit awkward if that's the case, given how Ja felt about the offense last year.
That offense is not trending in the right direction. It might just be a point where you're just like, nah, the hell with that offense. Like, kind of get rid of it the way that the Grizzlies did last year. Haize, Tyler Herro versus Ja Morant. What would you do?
Man, at this point, well, Tyler's had injury issues too, but like you don't have to worry about off the court stuff at least with Tyler Herro.
Yeah.
So I probably Tyler Herro at this point.
I mean, I do want to say, like, there's all these waves that Ja's third act of his career can be great. It's just like,
for sure,
he's got to get healthy, he's got to get serious, and he's got to grow up a little bit. And I really don't like using that terminology. It's just like, from what you hear, you know, because that was one of the things that is like, is it different? And everyone's like, no, he still rolls with the same people. They still cause the same problems. He still acts the same way, where it's like he laughs off every sort of criticism. You know, it's about responsibility and accountability. And like, I'm sympathetic to it because I don't feel like I was a mature person when I was his age. It took me until later in my life to, I think, really become more mature. So I think like there's a lot of opportunity there. I think for Ja, it's just, if he wants to have it, he also doesn't have to. Like, he can continue to have, like, if he's just like, nope, my friends are my friends, I'm going to roll this way, and this is like what's going to happen. Cool, but like, there's going to be consequences of that for your career. Like, things will not change.
There was a player on a podcast recently that told a story about Pat Riley organizing security to station outside his hotel room on the road because he was worried that player, and I can't remember which player it is. I don't want to make any mistakes here, but it was worried that particular player would leave and pass curfew and just be out. And he's like, no, I'm putting security outside your door. That might be the kind of tough love that Ja Morant needed. Now, I don't know that the Heat would still be doing that. That was a little dated there. But look, the Heat, once upon a time, made a trade for a guy who was considered maybe past due his prime for an athletic guard who was electric, Tim Hardaway, right? And they go ahead and trade for him, and it ends up being the best era at that point for the Miami Heat, the 90s era with Tim Hardaway and Alonzo Mourning. Could they figure out something with Ja Morant and Bam Adebayo? It's interesting. Haize, any other potential destinations that you like for Ja?
Man, I like Minnesota until we heard that Minnesota's kind of out on Ja, but I do like the potential of Ja Morant and Anthony Edwards as a backcourt together. I do think Anthony Edwards, just as a player and a leader, how he's grown, could help Ja hugely, even though I think Ja's older than Anthony Edwards, but I do think he maybe could help coming into that environment with coaching, things like that. But, one of the last reports is that the Minnesota Timberwolves are kind of out on Ja.
Go ahead, Matt.
No, I think it's hard finding the right spot, right? Atlanta probably needs to be in those kind of conversations, but I don't know what that trade looks like, because if you trade Porzingis, then you have to figure out another trade to replace the big.
Yeah.
And so it just causes this cascading series. And you also don't want to trade out Trey and then add in Ja. It's just like we just solved this problem. We don't want to go back to it. I don't like that. I hate the Wolves fit, because they just need like a floor general, and that's not Morant.
The other names, the teams that have been mentioned here, rather, Toronto is being talked about by all the insiders. They keep coming up. Milwaukee matches sort of the desperation that you need to take a swing at Ja Morant. Do they have the pieces? Is it like Kyle Kuzma and like a pick, or is that really going to get it done for Memphis? We'll see. And then Matt mentioned the Phoenix Suns there. So a lot to keep monitoring here on the Ja Morant front. Maybe we can have something sooner rather than later if they are that desperate to move off of it. Coming up, the Golden State Warriors might be desperate to be making some changes to the roster. We'll talk about their options after this. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Fridays already feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during Happy Hour always brings something new, boosts, bonuses, and surprises. It's easy to check the weekly specials before tip-off and make a move before the window closes. The timing's perfect, right before the games, right before the weekend starts. It adds a little extra energy to Friday night basketball without overthinking it. So, before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour. Every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern, a little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour, only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Welcome back to Locked On NBA Daily. The best way to support the show is to subscribe on YouTube. We air Mondays to Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, wherever you get your podcasts. Let's talk about the Golden State Warriors. They get blown out by the Hawks last night, and Locked On Warriors says it's time to make a change. And could Michael Porter Jr. be a potential solution?
Someone made a good comment, though, that Michael Porter Jr. is just the sexy trophy, right? He's glam. You look at him in the highlights, you see him drop 32 or whatever on a bad team, and you say, we want that guy on our squad. But when it comes down to it, what do you need in championship level basketball games? You need guys that are going to get stops. You need guys that are going to be focused. You need guys that are going to make the right plays. Will he do that? I mean, he's done it on a championship team before, and frankly, correct me if I'm wrong, he had a pretty good postseason.
He didn't really do those things on a championship team. He hit big shots.
Well, that's what the Warriors need, right?
Not
on
consistently.
Jimmy
Well, yeah. Again, they'd be better. But how much better to give up 2 first-round picks?
Hey, there's a long debate there on Locked On Warriors about the potential fit Michael Porter Jr. Your thoughts, Michael Porter Jr., Warriors?
I mean, if just talking about like taking out how the machinations to get him there, I do think he can fit in with the Warriors play style. I do think that. I think he can play with Jimmy. I think we've seen him when he was with Denver. He can adapt to just about anything that you ask him to do. So I do like the concept of the fit. I just don't see how they get a deal that makes sense to get him there considering that contract.
Man, I think he can make it work just because Kuminga, right?
True.
Like, and Brooklyn doesn't care. Brooklyn only cares about the picks. The Locked On Warriors talked about that. The sweetener is the picks. That's all they care about. It'll just be like Kuminga, filler, and picks, and that's how you get it done. I want to be skeptical of this because Mike really is a terrible defender. He's a genuinely horrible defender. And if you have Mike and Steph on the court at the same time, I'm just like, how are you? Draymond and Jimmy cannot compensate for this defensively. I do see a world in which it kind of works. I think it works short term. I think it's like one of those things where it's like it turns their season around. They make a late run. They have a good second round appearance, and it's enough to like save face, right?
So basically the same thing that Jimmy Butler trade did for them.
Yeah. It's like it saves face in terms of like we tried, and maybe next year. I have a hard time believing kind of there is a kind of commentary in Locked On Warriors about like he's short of what they need. And I think it's true. I think they need a better player than Michael Porter Jr. They need somebody who's going to be able to be not fill in the gaps, but is legitimately like, hey, it's okay if I don't score. This guy does. Like you especially, I think, need that for Jimmy Butler, who has honestly been great for the Warriors this season, sneakily, but he's not consistent. And I just kind of wind up getting to what's weird is they still kill in the Jimmy, Steph, Draymond minutes. When their three guys are on the floor together, they're really good. They're not amazing. They're not contender level, but they're really good. It's just, I tried to kind of find like, well, what's the problem? What are the minutes that are killing them? And it's just like all these small variations of the bench minutes, in particular, Al Horford. Once again, do not pick up anybody that Boston lets go. Those minutes are really terrible. It's just very hard to it's very hard to diagnose like what's wrong with the Warriors, because they're just good enough to kind of mask anything being really bad, but they're not good enough for you to be like, oh yeah, they're in a good spot. They're fine. They're in this weird nebulous place. And I just have a hard time being like Michael Porter Jr. is going to be the difference there. But just like having a guy that's just going to give them 25 a night, maybe that's enough. Maybe that's enough to get them where they need to go.
I understand that the fans like over there Locked On Warriors are getting asked about Michael Porter Jr. and Anthony Davis, once upon a time before the wrist injury and all that kind of stuff. But it's like, I get that fans want to go for the starry name. I'm watching these Warriors games, and Matt, to your point, it's like, where are the weaknesses? Maybe I'm wrong here. It just feels like the Warriors have 2.5 good players, and that's it. And maybe that's their biggest problem. It's not the fact that they lack star power. They got Steph. When Jimmy wants to be really good, he can still be really good. Draymond will still, once out of 10 days, look like the best defender on the planet. The problem is that all their other players stink. They're not helpful. I don't know what Brandon Podziemski is at this point in his career. Moses Moody is up and down all the time. Kuminga's out of the rotation. Horford is a bust as an addition. Seth Curry's not even in the rotation. I kind of would say, if I'm the Warriors, I don't really need another star. We kind of have our stars. Let's just go get some good players to raise the floor a little bit. The Warriors are full of ceiling raisers. They have no floor raisers, Haize. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's similar to like what the Mavs did when they got Daniel Gafford and Derrick Jones Jr., right? Like they added some players that were role players, but they played off of Luka so well they were able to use that to get to NBA Finals. So maybe they do need something like that. Maybe they just need the right role players around the three that they have. It is concerning, though, that when Steph and Jimmy both score 30, they're 0-3 in those games. So, like, maybe that does point to you just need some role players who are just going to play tough two-way basketball. Maybe that's what they need more than another star.
I think the problem is the pathway right now with the current CBA is you turn one large contract into multiple small ones, or you turn multiple small ones into a large one. It's hard to be like, we're going to take Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody and Buddy Hield and turn that into multiple playoff rotation caliber guys that can make an impact. Even if you're trying to find a team that's like, okay, they're kind of giving up and transitioning away. Like you could look at a team like the Kings, but the Kings don't have that either. Like the Kings don't have those kind of guys. You need a team that's got like a lot of pretty good players that are looking for a major upgrade. And there just aren't a lot of those teams right now.
And it's probably going to cost you a first-round pick, Matt. It's maybe similar to the Michael Porter Jr. plus a first for Cam Johnson type deal, right? Where it gives you a solid rotation piece and a little bit of flexibility.
Now, the answer here might honestly be Dallas. That might be the way to go here, is try and get yourself, instead of going for AD, go the other direction and be like, hey, trying, if they're going to rebuild, like a lot of this depends on Kyrie, because they're still holding out hope that Kyrie Irving is going to save their season, which is ridiculous. But if they can go get Najee Marshall, Daniel Gafford, right?
Those are two really good pickups.
Yeah, like you go to them and you're like, hey, we'll give you Kuminga, a young forward to go next to Flag. We'll give you the pick, and your young guy and your guys get to come play serious basketball. And if you need a salary filler, well, there's always Klay Thompson, which would be quite the story.
I'm here for that. Let's go. So, Haize, what do you think?
Klay coming back, I mean, cool. I don't think it does anything for them. I mean, it's a cool story. It's a great headline.
He's been pretty good this year. He's quietly having
better than Buddy Hield.
I mean, Buddy Hield is playing like major cheeks right now. Like Buddy Hield's playing like such butt right now that Zion might call him up. That may be what happens. He may think that he's an OnlyFans model.
Oh my God. Oh my God. One of the things that's like, I think really interesting about Buddy Hield is the same thing with Kelly Oubre. Like Kelly Oubre is like a consistent good starter for the Philadelphia 76ers. Like he's a fine NBA player, and he was wretched in Golden State.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's just like you don't know who is going to fit and who is not in that system. And like that's another risk with the MPJ stuff. It's just like now MPJ's played in the motion offense because he played in Denver and he understands how to move the ball. But it's different. It's not the same as Denver. It's not post-centric, right? It's a little bit more perimeter oriented. So like this is one of the other things is you can add good players and those good players then look and you're like, this guy actually sucks. And it's like, no, he just doesn't know how to play Warriors basketball.
Right.
And that's why I think the fans are so frustrated with Kerr is, Jonathan Kuminga doesn't know how to play Warriors basketball. Kuminga probably knows how to play basketball for 27 teams in the league. Just this isn't one of them.
I always said this when I was covering the Warriors. Steph Curry is a great teammate. He's hard to play with.
Yeah.
Because he just changes the geometry. And if you don't have that high level feel for the game, you're dead. Like Oubre is a good player. Just didn't work, to your point, Matt, in Golden State. Winners and losers from the weekend is next. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Daily is brought to you by Game Time. During basketball season, there's nothing like being in the building. The energy, the crowd, that first big run that gets everybody on their feet. Fans want to be there for those moments, not stuck refreshing screens or guessing what tickets are really going to cost. That's where Game Time comes in. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage back, making it incredibly easy to score amazing tickets, fast, simple, and without the guesswork. Browsing the Game Time app is straightforward and intuitive. Finding tickets takes just a few taps. Seeing the view from your seat before buying makes choosing tickets easy, and you do it with confidence. Plus, prices include fees up front, so the total is clear right from the start. With features like zone deals, they help unlock great seats at even better value. Whether it's an NBA game or another live event, everything is right there in one place with Game Time. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDON NBA for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today and get in on the action. Thanks for making Locked On NBA Daily your first listen. The Locked On Podcast Network has a show for every team. Check out Locked On Grizzlies and Locked On Warriors for more on today's top stories. It's Monday. Let's end the show the way we do every beginning of the week with our weekend winners and losers. Haize, we'll start with you.
Weekend winner for me, Kyler Murray Boyles with the Toronto Raptors. Double OT game, gets to Philadelphia 76ers, 17 points, 3 assists, 3 blocks, 3 steals, 15 turnovers. 15 rebounds, not 15 turnovers. And this, I wanted to point him out specifically because I always knew that Kyler Murray Boyles was going to have a bit of a tough time offensively in the NBA. And his defense has been great. His rebounding has been pretty solid as well. But offensively was always going to be a struggle because he was so ball dominant in college. Those opportunities are just not going to be there for him in the NBA. And while he's only averaging 7.5 points per game so far this NBA season, like he stepped up in the moment when the Raptors needed it in a double overtime game against a team that's been really good this season. So he's my winner for this weekend.
I will go with the winner for the Phoenix Suns, who pulled ahead of the Houston Rockets in the standings. We'll talk about the Rockets in just a second. Phoenix continues to just be really impressive. That win yesterday is like they finally get to play a weak Eastern Conference team. They've had such a tough schedule, and they play this Wizards team and they completely blow them out because, well, that's what the Wizards intend to do. But Phoenix is 24-15. They are 9 games over 500. 9 games over 500. Who saw that coming at the beginning of the year? I thought they'd be decent. I never thought they would be this good. It's another, I think, feather in the cap for Jordan Ott's Coach of the Year case. Jalen Green is expected back this week. We're going to finally see what the Rockets look like full strength. So a lot of pressure for that to look good. And we'll see what happens if it doesn't. They're 14-5 at home, and they are 20-13 against the Western Conference this season. I got nothing but respect for the Phoenix Suns.
Is Jalen Green, when he comes back, should he start for the Suns, or do you think they should play him as a sixth man? Like, what's the Jalen Green role for them optimally?
Man, that's a great question. I think you probably start him just to see, because I think they had plans on starting him anyway. Maybe start him, see how it looks with him in that starting lineup. But sixth man is probably going to ultimately be the role. That's probably the role you want him to be in.
A guy named David Ramil and I talked about Jalen Green being a potential six-man candidate long-term for his career when he was with Houston, and Houston fans did not like that at the time. I'm sure they're a little bit more amenable to it now. I don't think you do it just because it immediately reduces his trade value, which you don't want to do, right? You can't, if you bench him, it's like, oh, immediately you lose trade value there. I am gonna be very curious. The 15 minutes he played, it was like they were awesome with him. I'm just really curious to see which direction this goes, because I think it's also going to guide the trade market a lot, depending on what they look like with Jalen Green back.
Haize, I'm really glad, by the way, that you brought up Colin Murray-Boyles, because this draft class is just so stacked. We talk about all these guys, Cooper Flagg, VJ, like all these guys so much. Derek Queen, we talked about a lot on this show. We never mentioned Colin Murray-Boyles. Every time I turn on a Toronto Raptors game, like, that guy can play. That guy is a good, maybe he got picked over somebody else or whatever. The Raptors got a good player in Colin Murray-Boyles. My winner from the weekend is Anthony Edwards, who on Sunday night shaked and baked Victor Wembanyama at the end of that game for the game winner to complete a Minnesota Timberwolves comeback. The hesitation dribble, like the getting Victor Wembanyama spinning, like you just don't see it. It's that level that Ant gets to that just reminds you, oh yeah. Of all the sneaker guards in the league, he's the best, right? But it's like, it's him, it's Donovan Mitchell, John Morant is obviously part of that group. He's the best one because he just hits these levels that nobody else can hit. Let's get to some losers, Haize.
Losers for me are the Green Bay Packers, as they should be losers. They talked all that stuff about wanting the Chicago Bears. You got exactly what you wanted. And then after the game, their safety saying, well, the Bears didn't do anything. The Bears aren't crap. He used a different word than that. And I say, well, for an ain't crap team that beat you twice this year and sent you home, thanks for watching us on Sunday. So there you
go. The winner of the weekend is Haize. That's the winner of the weekend. My loser, on the other hand, besides the Suns, is the Houston Rockets. They lose to the Kings. They are now 9-9 against the bottom 10 teams in point differential this season.
That's crazy.
So they are vehicling in the glass. They have this real problem with playing down to their opponents. Alperen Sengun comes last night, and they trailed that entire game. Rockets fans are really killing Jabari Smith Jr. Some interesting stats. He has the best net rating and is shooting 50-40 in wins. He's shooting 40-28 in losses and has the worst net rating on the team. It's literally Jabari plays good or reverse. Rockets play good, Jabari plays good, or Jabari plays good, Rockets win. It is an interesting dynamic that continues to kind of evolve. Jackson Gatlin on the episode where they lost again over the weekend to the Phoenix Suns. Or the previous loss that they had to the Portland Trailblazers, rather. They lost again to the Blazers. Gatlin was starting to get a little critical of Ime Udoka, and I think there are some questions about what exactly is wrong with this offense and why it is not better given their firepower, and I think those questions are legitimate.
Well, Ime said it's that they rely too much on the 37-year-old, Haize.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that.
I mean, my thing is, why are they not relying more on Sengun? Why is Sengun such a non-essential guy on this team?
Haize, I was gonna text the group after our conversation on Friday. I was like, I kind of it was a rough weekend for Sengun. I was like, we might take the L on that
rough weekend. It was definitely a rough weekend for Sengun. But you know what? The way that they got at Matt in the comments of that video on Friday, it was all that was needed.
It's what I'm here for. Also, a lot of conversations about Denny Avdia's free throw rate on the people. They are talking about the real free throw merchant, Denny Avdia.
All right, nerds.
First of all, he leads the league in drives. And
congrats, he dribbles.
Only this drives is not just dribbles, man. You know, you were too basketball intelligent to try to have that response, brother. Come on. And then only 7 points of his total points are coming from free throws a game. Come on, Matt. Come on, brother.
You gotta finish if you're gonna be this great driver. You should be able to finish, and he can't. He can't finish.
He does finish. He finishes by getting to the free throw line and making free throws.
He's league average in at the rim percentage. Not.
It's fine.
I'll be vindicated. History will vindicate me.
If you like what you heard today, subscribe to Locked On NBA Daily wherever you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. Thank you to Matt and Haize for their expertise every day in the fighting. Thanks for making Locked On Podcast Network your first listen. We'll see you back here tomorrow.